excited to talk to you ladies today. I'm such a fan of this show, and as you can tell, I even have my salva background. This is my floating through the air kind of background here.
Love
That
it.
I threw it on my neck, and now I'm just kind of floating around back here. Is what the idea was too. So,
Nice.
so first and foremost, I ask everyone now during this time of quarantine. Of course, you're working, but everyone's also trying to like come up with hobbies and learn to cook or have their own garden. Is there any hobbies you've taken up with some of this time, or is it all work for you too right now?
D.
Ah, there's been high points and low points. Let's start it that way.
Okay.
Now I'm back in the swing of work a little bit. I'm actually filming something in LA. Everything is very, very different. So the adjustment to that is yet happening. But when I was, completely quarantined at home, there were mistakes made. I don't cook normally. Bless my son because he's good at it. But like, I was coming up with recipes. Y'all ever had cream of wheat loaf? It's not good.
What?
Never do that. You should never do that. So
That's not even a solid.
Yo, it was gelatinous. It was a different texture. I don't know what made me think of that, but everything happens for a reason, even if it's so it never happens again. Lots of gardening, lots of introspection, a lot of looking into the projects that I wanted to see and the content that I wanted to see, a lot of prayer about Motherland and, really, really reconnecting in a different way with people. I think the fact that we can't be so tangible and in contact with people made you really realize the relationships that you needed to make flourish a little bit more, or, just checking on people in a different way. So I think it helped with a lot of the connectivity for me, despite the fact that we were disconnected. So
Right.
the way
Well, I find that good because that's one of those things that we have the time to introspect and kind of look at the rest of the world and look at our neighbor as well. So it's definitely a time to look at that and kind of hopefully some realizations happen as well.
bring your neighbor some cream of wheat loaf.
Cream of wheat loaf, yeah. I want you to post that on your social media, and I want to see how many people try it and what their thoughts are on that process. You're missing a sponsorship. You're missing a sponsorship deal, and that's the issue. I think is what's really happening here. You could be the face of cream of loaf, whatever, cream of wheat loaf or whatever. All right, so Jessica, what have you been up to?
I took a hard break off social media at the beginning. Actually, it was the beginning of June was my birthday, and I just decided to give myself some me time. And I got back into art and writing, and I started a meditation app. And I don't know what I thought meditation was before, but whatever it was, I liked the idea of it, just couldn't ever seem to have time to practice. And then when I did try and practice it, I just thought I was doing it wrong. So it's been something that's really changed kind of the way I've paid attention to my life and paying attention. And I totally agree with Dee when she's saying that this time has really highlighted what matters most, because we're so restricted in so many ways, especially here in South Africa. So we've got one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. So just been enjoying being back home with my family and doing lots of reading, tons of reading. And Dee will know how much I love my words. I love my books.
Stressful.
All right.
Yeah, just like waiting to see what happens with the show when we're going to be back to Vancouver. But have been resting, which has been great.
Well,
and I'm now ready to get back to work.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm a reader as well, so good on y'all for that. Let's talk on the panel, though, which is coming up, Comic-Con panel. Very excited for this, actually. You get a chance, of course, Sunday, 10 a.m. Look at those powerful witchy mouths, I guess, is right. That's the theory. So, the funny thing I had to ask is this: when they said, "Hey, you're gonna be part of a magic show," like, before you knew anything really, were you like in front of a mirror doing your Harry Potter wands and the hands and things? And they're like, "No, it's a lot of mouth stuff. So keep the teeth good." Like, what was your main thought when you came in?
Well, the singing bit only came in, I think, when it was past the table reading. And that was kind of when it hit me that we would have to sing, and I had not been informed of that. and I can't sing. I have never received any training. So yeah, it was going to be interesting as to how to, I don't know how we were going to be trained to do this, and I was a bit stressed. But I think when we finally got to the shooting of the season, and then after season 1 wrapped, we went into the promo shoot, which was a whole lot of fun, and they got us to just scream, do our wind strikes into camera. And by that point, we had already established everything, and we were feeling really comfortable with it. So that was a really fun shoot.
That was not an experience at all.
What was your experience?
Bruh, I sing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, this is right in my wheelhouse. I know this. Okay. And
Right.
you're thinking it's a cool concept for magic, thinking that it's work and it's not just something you bippity boppity boop. And there's no shade to any of that other stuff. But the novelty of it being something just so personal and that you have to really harness was really cool to me. So I'm sitting here like, all right, I'm gonna just do my scales every day. I'll be ready. I'm gonna walk on. It's gonna be great. It was not the singing I thought it was going to be. So I was so ill prepared on the other side of it. I'm thinking that I'm going to do the things and the harmonics that I'm used to and that I'm aware of. But Elliot Lawrence, in his wisdom, took a lot of minors, and he took those eerie, beautiful notes and kind of combined them in a way that made you feel like, yes, this is something I can do, but understand that it's unattainable unless you do the work. So coming in as a singer and a vocalist and all that other jazz, I had to break down my joint like a fraction and really get into, okay, this isn't beautiful in the sense of what we know. This is beautiful in the sense of time and space and womanhood and why a woman hear me roar
Right.
type thing. So, I had to come out of what I thought I knew and relearn.
Well,
and the show emphasizes that, right? Like, it's not so much about just your singing quality, but it's just that power lies within your voice. So I do remember the PR team also even saying, like their kind of vision for the poster, what they thought the poster was going to be like, was going to be something ferocious. And I think female rage is something that isn't exactly advertised, where you're not looking all pretty. You're kind of you're allowed to awaken the inner fury, and that's just fun and powerful. That's a powerful place to be.
Right. Well, I guess the question is, when does this face come up for you? In your life, when is that? Someone does it with a cart back at the grocery store. Like, when does this face pop up for you exactly?
A little, okay. I can get a bit road ragey.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
A little bit, but it's such a strange thing. It's like if you were like in a mall and somebody cut ahead of you, you wouldn't lose you wouldn't lose your shit. And yet, when somebody does that, and it's like bumper to bumper traffic. This was back in the days when we had traffic, because since lockdown, traffic's been great in Cape Town. So there's that. But when traffic used to be bad, I did lose my patience.
Oh.
Well, that's understand. But the cool thing is,
is-
there are opportunities for you to lose your patience, especially when it came to the fighting. The fighting seemed like some fun days, right? I'm sure. Did you guys have a fun days, kind of putting that together, doing your choreography, getting that stuff set, or is it a little more of a hardship than that?
That joint hurt.
That was an insane day.
That was training.
Yeah. Everything. Just seeing the pics just take me back, because we were in that gym for that whole. I think it was 3 days that we shot in and around those fight sequences and different aspects of that scene. We trained hard beforehand. We trained for about a week with our stunt coordinators and our trainer, the amazing Michelle Smith,
Ernest.
and Ernest, and the stunt girls, who were basically there to do all of the stuff that we couldn't, to make us look insanely badass. And they were also sparring with us, so the week before. But somebody who's not athletic, in the least. Like I would never describe myself as athletic, and slightly hand-eye coordinatedly challenged. I was just hoping that they were going to edit it in such a way that it was going to make me look great. But it turned out, like, on the day, I mean, Ash and I we were in it.
Yeah.
We were in it.
You know,
what people fail to understand is that thing, the scourge, you
Yeah.
know, when we were practicing, it's nothing for it to dot your eye. It's nothing for it to hit you in the lip. It's nothing for it to hit you in the butt. And each time that thing hits you, you remembered it. What we learned, we got to make sure we're on cue with this. So even though I didn't get to practice a lot of it on screen, just going through, like, having to teach these young ladies how to do this, I needed to know what that felt like. So I was.
You were incredible. She was the best out of all of us.
Oh,
without a doubt. That's
season
awesome.
2 is gonna see you, I think, kick some ass.
Well,
was
and
just really,
that's a cool
really
thing. We got some episodes where ass kicking did happen. Though I have to say, one of my funny things I had to think about too is the choreography y'all had to do for the dancing day. Like, was that
melting.
was that like, oh, like, were you in La La Land? Was that what that was at that point? Was that in your mind? What were you thinking when you were dancing and you were all choreography?
What I was thinking was, holy shit, this floor is so hot, because the dance floor was fire. It wasn't planned, and production hadn't foreseen that the sun was going to be shining directly on the floor and heating it up. So by the time that we were all having to dance, we were like, we can't do this. So they called in for shoes, and we just had to try and make it work. But I mean, the dress that I wore alone was just, it was an Ulla Johnson original. I had never worn anything or looked or felt so beautiful my entire life. And then had this amazing co-star, Kai, who we'd also done dance training, I think 2 days of dance training, which was insane. But I mean, the dancers were just these incredible individuals who just had us 100%. The music was so cool. And yeah, I had to pinch myself. I believe it was my birthday when we were training, doing dance rehearsals. And I remember thinking, so let me get this straight. I get to be a warrior witch and there's a dance number. That is maybe the coolest job ever. So I think episode 4 for me will always probably be my favorite, just because it did feel like La La Land. That's a great way of putting it.
Well, there was magical, love in the air, birds flying around. There was a lot of stuff happening, so it was all positive notes for sure. Once we get to the end of the season, there's questions that need to be asked too. Of course, with Anacostia, the cool thing is we had that last sidelong look of you can't trust her. Like, even though she had like, oh, I've got emotions and I'm a happy person, but at the same time, I want to believe in love and friendship and everything. But at the same time, it's like, I'm following you. Like, that was the world it is. So that's kind of the thing where that the character, as much, I was kind of like, is this character changing up? Is she gonna get like soft and like change up? And I'm like, nope, she's just planning. Like, I mean, well, is that kind of comforting when you find out your character is the same? Like, they're not trying to change it up. Like, they know who the character is, and so do you, and you kind of just move along with it.
I love when writing can be prismatic. No one person is one dimensional, and there are a lot of different sides to each person. So when you get to explore those facets, it's really, really cool. Anacostia was one of the first character I've played who comes in so strong, so stern, so stoic. And then she gets stronger as those layers get peeled away, versus people building on and taking on characteristics that bring the strength out in them. Now, I've always also said that Anacostia is a player of chess, not checkers. You won't know what she's doing until she's staring your queen in the face. And so that ending of her following Scylla, like, oh, you think you got me? Oh, you think I done opened up? Oh, but here we are. And now I know where the spree are, So I love that you can't really tell what's going on in that head of hers. You can't really tell which direction she's going to be in. And the fact that she's starting to get her eyes opened is making her move a little differently. She's not necessarily changing who she is. She's changing how she moves because of what she learns as she grows.
I gotcha. And that's something that is very important to me when it comes to characters as well, is having that opportunity to see them grow, but also use their minds correctly. You know, it's that thing where it's like, all right, well, she's smart enough. Like the killer's after her, she's not gonna basic it up and just go up the stairs instead of out the front door. Like, you know,
Right.
there's things you gotta do. Like she's not gonna hide and whimper. She's gonna run out the window, go out the window. Like it's like there's that basic thing. You're like, come on, someone knows not to be this. No one's that dumb. I mean, we made fun of that so many times too. So, you know, and that's another question I have too as we move forward is, you of course at the end Tally kind of she gained some years, she gained some wrinkles, so you know for the first question on that before I get to more on the subject is, did you use it to go to Denny's and get your or some restaurant and get yourself a senior discount? Did you try to pass off? Did you like, oh, a 65, you know, and you try to get your, you know, or have some young person hold the door open for you or something like?
Hey, wait. So is well, okay, no, well, by the time oh wow. By the time we had done the prosthetic tests, we were pretty much coming to the end of the season. And I mean, you do not want to go anywhere wearing that much prosthetic.
Oh.
It was an incredibly, because I okay, so Elliot Lawrence, our amazing showrunner and creator, he told me from the pilot I knew what was going to happen to Tally.
Oh wow.
So he told me straight away, not giving me obviously the flesh of how she got to be a biddy, but just that she was going to be a biddy. And that was enough for me to realize that I was in for an insane character arc, and that was going to kind of be my final destination. So there was nothing that was going to prepare me for the intense prosthetic process, you having to get your, you know, full head cast, and that alone is like it's 20 minutes, and you know you're totally limited in what you can hear and see, and it's, I mean, it's a kind of a nightmare situation for anyone who's maybe even just a little bit claustrophobic. Good thing that they prepared me for it, and I was able to play some calming music through the process, but then obviously the last like hardening of the actual plaster of Paris that goes on to kind of mold your face is you hear nothing, you can see nothing, and you've just got your hands to try and like flap if things are not okay, for them to then break you open. So it's a really intense process. And then on the day I was just having to try and keep cool, because obviously, I mean, your skin is alive. It's the largest organ that you have, and it needs oxygen. And so I had to try and like tap to try and not itch, because you can't itch. You can't even get under the skin. And you're wearing it for like 8 hours a day, and it was probably the most intense process. So I would have loved to have gone out in public and just seen what just the average Joe would have done.
Right.
But my body looked pretty much like, you know, still young. They had kind of we filmed it.
Maybe grandma just CrossFit.
Needed to be. It was kind of the trick of the eye, because we didn't have much time, and we needed to make up efficiently. So I would have loved to have gone out in public, but that was not an option. I did, however, scare a few of my crew and cast members. I think the girls couldn't quite believe the incredible work that prosthetic team pulled off, and and neither could I. I mean, it's worse than the aging app. They told me to use the aging app as kind of reference, and I'm like, well, that's terrifying. And then actually looking in the mirror and seeing old Tally was quite another thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I have my grand's hands?
Did they tell you have they actually told you how far a biddy ages to? Like it's like mid-60s, mid-70s? Do they give you like an actual date range?
Well, because of so the way that it happens, which is kind of an emergency action on the battlefield, you know, the two biddies get taken down, and General Alder is basically dying. So Tally makes that decision of, you know, rescuing her team, because the only way that they're going to get out of there is through Alder. And So in her mind, it was just like, okay, she can just take as much as she needs. I don't know if it's I've got so many questions still for Elliot.
Well, that's why we're asking them.
How the process works, because we saw in episode 3
right.
how it works when you get chosen and you go through the protocol. But when it's in an emergency situation, I think Elliot was just like, well, because two of the biddies had gone down. Tally takes a lot more on. So originally they had me at 60, and then they pushed it to about 80.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I mean, the question is though, because you were just saying right now, you knew ahead of time this was going to be the end result, but that's just the end result for season 1, right? We're not going to have like 4 more seasons of you sweating in your skin, walking around. Do we need to send a little cane on your way? I mean,
if that is my reality, if that's going to be Tally's destiny, I'm really glad that I started meditating.
Okay, that's good.
Now, lockdown has been practiced.
Well, we want to see some social media of you like hardcore dancing as grandma and doing some fun stuff too along the way. Then,
wow,
right?
On TikTok.
Yeah, a little TikTok dancing as grandma.
I'll do it just for you.
Yes, please do. Please do. I want to see that. I want to see anything you got, cheerleading stuff. You can even do Baby Shark if you want, whatever you want to do. Just throw that
Baby Shark.
Hey,
well, you're Grandma Shark, right? Grandma Shark.
Right. Grand Shark.
I don't have TikTok, so I'm gonna rely on Dee to teach me all I need to know, and then you will be cool. Yes,
it will be our new mission.
That's awesome. As it should be. Well, one of the things that happens when you have a first season is to have a second season, and it's always amazing to get that chance to move forward. When you first found out that season 2 was going to come, is it I get to see my friends again? Is it I want to see where the story goes? I mean, what was the main thing that kind of jumped for you both?
There was a plethora of things. You're definitely looking forward to getting back to the people who made the magic happen. I've grown really, really unique and strong relationships with each of these young ladies. So getting a chance to go back to it was a no-brainer. But what I think people don't necessarily recognize offhand, because even me, I didn't get it at the beginning. When we signed on to do this, yes, you hope for a season 2. Hallelujah. We're here. We've done it. What? Then you're hoping that they bring you back for season 2. So it's like, yeah, the show will go on. You're gonna be sitting at home looking around. I don't want to be that. So there was a duality in the joy. We get to be back creating and being with people that we love. We absolutely adore the team, Elliot, Freeform. All of that has been great. But then when specifically that you're able to go back and actually be a part of it, that's a secondary layer of, all right, we really get to go. Like you're really excited for the entirety. And then there's that individual of, okay, I've done the job, I've done the work, and they're going to let me continue to play in this world.
Right.
With these amazing people.
Well, you know what? I was looking through. They sent me a bunch of images for the show, and like images like this in the uniform makes sense. Of course, functionality and work and being a warrior. But then they also sent me this image too, and I'm like, did I miss the fashion shoot in the show? Like, what's up? What's happening with that shoot? Look, everyone is like, wow. Everyone's just like, no, we're fashion. We're fierce. Fierce is the title for this image right here. So I was like, is there like an episode coming up where you're like, we're gonna kill some monsters and then we're gonna do a fashion walk? Like,
I hope so. But you know what? I love how both of those images can exist together.
Right.
Women, the nurturer and the destroyer. That women can be, sexy and fierce.
Hey.
And that, oh man, look how fierce you look. I'm sorry, I still can't get over that outfit.
It was cool.
That was an insane evening, right? That photo.
Yeah. The juxtaposition of, warrior and warrior doesn't have to be hard all the time. Warrior doesn't have to be subdued. Warrior doesn't have to be ashamed. Warrior can be just out here like, bam, hot fest. You know what I mean? Like it was such a cool embodiment of everything that this show represents. And everybody looks spectacular, but it's not it's glammed, but there's still a beautiful darkness. There's still a beautiful depth to it that doesn't take you out of the world, which I thought was just so cool in the creative aspect of it. And so when they were like, we're going to do like this kind of Vanity Fair kind of shoot, and I was like, oof.
Well,
I love how Elliot always talks about, that he's wanting to walk the line of the feminine and how to portray that in a world that's not dominated by that feminine force, without it just being equal to, oh, well, that's masculine,
right?
If that makes sense. He's redefining the symbol of the witch as being a symbol of positivity and of empowerment, rather than just.
I agree, and that's one of those things that's. It's amazing. Oh, it's because we follow along with them, and we learn each character's personality, which I think this show does well. It shows who that character is, and you understand them. And so when they make their choices, you may not like them, but you're like, that's who they are. Every time we see someone fall for somebody else or wants love, and it has these you're like, well, I understand why. I might not like it, but let's go down this rabbit hole. Then let's keep on going.
Yeah, the show is morally gray. So it's going as much in the shadow side as it is the light, and it's exploring both and how they both exist within every character. So you're not walking away with an archetype or an archetypical idea of someone. They all get developed. Elliot just has brought such incredible depth to all 6 women. And I say this to my family and friends when I talk about the show. To me, we have 6 leads.
Right.
And the way that we explore the show in terms of the world is through the eyes of these 6 women. So
yeah. Well, it has definitely changed my look as whenever I see mushrooms now. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, that's definitely.
How did you look at mushrooms before?
Mushrooms were my friend.
Different conversation. Whole different thing.
They're always my friend. Hey, I'm a fun guy. What can I say? Really? That's a dad joke for you. Congratulations. There you go. You get a dad joke right there. Well, I'm so excited for this panel. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you got a chance to talk about and tell the fans about, answer some of those questions. And then also, hopefully give us some leaks, right? So some new what to expects. I'm sure there were some things you probably learned as well along during your panel, right?
Without question.
Oh, yeah.
Like she was saying, everybody's nature is so pronounced. Each of the individuals are very individual. So getting a chance to see what those arcs are going to be in the next season, a little bit at least, and then how we kind of join forces to interweave that cloth is going to be exciting.
So exciting.
And we are very excited for it. So you, of course, are witches, so I made a little extra something for you. So, Demetria, I'm going to give you your chance first. Give me a little either open mouth spell or hand wave or whatever you want, and I got a little something for you. So, go ahead and give me a magic incantation, I guess.
Is this a witch off?
No, it's not a witch off. It's just something fun I decided to throw together. So.
All right, you know what I'm gonna do. There's a scene where the 3 young ladies have joined forces finally in the first leap of togetherness, and they're at the tuning fork, and they start to make some hubbub happen. I gotta break that thing down like a fraction.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back into that. You ready?
All right, go for it.
Let me move this back.
Whoa! Awesome!
Awesome!
Right. All right. And now, Jessica, it is your turn as well. Give us a little witchiness, and we'll see what we can happen on your. We'll do something on your 2.
Okay. So I have a question for this.
Yeah.
The wind strike is really loud.
Yeah.
And I'm scared about blowing from speaker. because I have to do it with full conviction. There's just no two ways about it. I haven't given my family a heads up.
Right.
But then there's also the power of seeing,
Okay.
which is established as just,
Okay.
I don't, so
Dealer's
Wind
choice.
strike?
Dealer's choice.
Wind
Whatever you like.
Man,
You
wind
don't got-
strike. Pack them up. Wake them up.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Oh,
I got a second one
my
here.
old granny legs. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Little cyclone.
Little cyclone as well, with things flying from outside. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
I
so
love
dope.
it. Stop sign.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Well,
Derek.
that's so much fun. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on. There's there's a lot of fun shows out there, but this one has definitely grown on me, and I'm happy that it's grown on everyone else too, to the point where we have a second season. Because to have a first season, to get a second season, and then of course third season, syndication love. That's the goal every time too. So, and then of course I look forward to
We
speaking
gotta
with
thank
you.
our fans.
Yes,
They're
as they should
amazing.
be, and fans of both of you as
Switches.
well. I know that both of you are working right now. Demetria, are you working on American Soul or A House Divided? What are you working on right
A
now?
house divided.
That's
a
right.
House,
Okay,
come
so
on
house-
with the research.
I'm saying, well, House Divided. Well, not only that, but we're also looking forward to Jessica in the upcoming Megan Fox movie Rogue as well. So I'm sure both
Yes,
of
the
those.
trailer just dropped.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fun happening, keeping busy, and then still keeping the face out there even when the season's not happening. So that's always good too. So we are looking forward to seeing what you both do individually, but also when you come back together as a group. We're going to look forward to season 2. So I want to thank you so much. I want to push one more time that everyone needs to check into the panel. The panel is going to be a fun time. Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. They should go check it out. Motherland, Fort Salem is where it's at. And thank you once again, ladies. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Jeff.
And I hope you keep safe, keep healthy, and just be happy is the goal. So
You too.
Same to you. Thank you
thank you so much.